What's up again, everybody? We are knee-deep in Road to Nationals season. As you know, Road to Nationals is broken up into Classic Constructed and Draft formats, and I love drafting, so as I do with just about every game I play, I sat down with this new set from a draft perspective and considered all the different cards and kind of came up with my own little rankings based on something easy for me to kind of relate to with star rankings, okay? And I thought this time around I would write it down a little bit more succinctly, or I guess not succinctly, a little bit more detailed. I would be more detailed in my assessments. I figured I'd put it on a spreadsheet, okay? And so I jammed it down onto a spreadsheet, and then I was like, I can make this look better because I'm weird like that. I say, I'm going to make this look better for literally no one except for myself. And so I did that. And then I was like, hey, I just discovered I can add notes to cells. And so I did that. I added notes to all of the cells. And then I realized, you know what? This is getting a little excessive. Maybe I should stop. But you know, I didn't. And then I labeled everything with stars. So I made a spreadsheet for the entirety of Uprising based on my own personal rankings of how that specific card plays in draft. And I want to share some of these thoughts and opinions with you. Again, I want to start off by saying that these thoughts and opinions are strictly my own, and this is my first pass through the rankings. When I do this for myself, I don't know if you do this or do something like this. When I do this for myself, I usually go through it 3 times. This is the first time I went through it. I plan on going through it again maybe 1 or 2 more times and just adjusting things as I think about them more, and they kind of float around in the ether. But I want to share what I have considered with you. I'm not going to tell you every single card because we would be here for like a very long video. So if you want to see that, leave a comment down below saying you want me to literally talk about every card in the set, and then I will be forced to make that video because you said that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort these by highest rankings I gave and lowest rankings I gave. So I can do that. If I do this correctly, I can pull this off. Just add a filter. Look at me go. All right, we did it. All right, so we're going to break this down. I'm going to show you what I thought was the worst Draconic Illusionist cards. I gave one card a 1-star ranking, and it was Sandcover Blue. I don't think Sandcover Blue is ever a card I want to add to my deck. Period, end of story. Why? Well, it's a 0-block card that really destroys one of your Ash, which is hard to create in this format, or harder to create in this format, and it blocks 2. Yeah, it's like a worse generic card. And so for me, Sandcover Blue is a 1-star. What did I put as 5 stars? It's been a couple of days since I did this. Chromai. Here's the 5 stars for Draconic Illusionist. Chromai, Kyloria, Miragai, and then Rake the Empress Red. Those are the 5-star cards. So I don't know about you, but those are clearly 5-star cards. And again, my ranking system is 5-star card is like the nuts. You draft it. If you see it, you hate draft it. If you don't hate draft it, someone ends up getting this card and pivoting into this hero if you don't pivot into the hero already. And that is a very dangerous thing for you. These are cards that you want to take or hate draft. And it's weird because hate drafting in this format I've considered and thought and found that it's a little harder to do because you do need to fill out your deck. But I feel like at the very high levels you hate draft sparingly, but on very specific powerful cards, because if you don't, you're just going to run into the buzzsaw of those heroes. Of course, then again, if everyone just drafts 5, then you just pick up all the really good cards that people didn't hate draft. So I guess that works out well. Draconic Ninja, I went through and I ranked all of these. I bet you there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with a few of these. I gave a lot of 2 stars, which is kind of weird. But it's funny because, like, I could probably go back and move all of them to 3-star. Really, it doesn't actually end up mattering. The cards may not, like, if our standard for Draconic Illusionist card is like a 3-attack go again, like if that's the standard, if that's like a 3-star card, there's like a lot of cards that are that already. So like you can build very powerful like Phi decks in draft with just that as your standard. Worst card, I didn't give any single card a 1. Just kind of funny. I can't think of a card I would give a 1 in Draconic Illusionist. Or sorry, Draconic Ninja. Did I not give any card? Oh, nah, man. These cards are all good enough to be played in a deck. 1 for me is a card that I'm probably never putting into a deck. That's a 1. And I'm just looking at this again. And I can't think of any of these cards as a 1-star card. Like, you could play any of these. Now, some of the colors are like less than optimal, but like you can still consider running a blue version of one of these cards as pitch. That's the interesting thing. You can run it as pitch. So I guess we'll look at the 2-star cards. I put a lot of 2-star cards. I honestly think, and this may be personal bias, and feel free to let me know in a comment below, I don't think Phoenix Form is fantastic in draft. It may be better than I think. I did play it in sealed, and I found it to be a very bait card. In draft, I do feel like it's under. Like, the way I analyzed this card, I thought to myself, I have a Phoenix Form in hand. If I don't have a flame in hand alongside of it, if I don't have one ready to go, then I have to set this card up to even just make it playable with Go Again. Otherwise, this is not a card with Go Again base. And so, is it an average of a 3 if it's a 3 attack with Go Again? The answer is no, so I brought it down a little bit. Obviously, it can go kind of crazy, but like in draft, I don't think you can push to the crazy combo lines of hitting 2 or 3 Phoenix Flames consistently, and so I don't think you can rate it based on that high watermark of what it could do. Combustion Point, honestly, maybe this is like a 1 cost or a 1-star. I really am not a fan of Combustion Point, but I could see you running it maybe. I don't know, maybe this is my 1-star. Maybe I'm gonna do it. It's a 1-star. By the way, while I say this, if you disagree with any of these rankings and you're a patron, you actually have access to this document. If you are a patron, you have access to this document. I uploaded it for patrons like over the weekend, and I said, hey, if you want to pop onto this and leave a comment, you can comment on any of these cards which you agree or disagree with, and we can tweak as we go. But this is a document that I figured I'd share with patrons. So if you'd like to have a copy of this document to use and review cards with, and kind of make your own, educated guesses and tweaks to it, feel free to join the Patreon, patreon.com/DMArmada, and you can have access to it and go crazy with it yourself. I think I literally went a little crazy. Like, I didn't add Blood of Drakai's text. I'm sorry, everyone. Go look up Blood of Drakai. 5 stars for Phi were Heatwave. I think Heatwave is nuts. If you see Heatwave, you pick it up. It's got built-in quell, and it also just makes your flames just super threatening. Spreading Flames is good in every format because it always can be lined up for buffs. Rise from the Ashes. Weirdly enough, Rise from the Ashes Red, I think, is a 5-star card. And again, you can disagree with me, that's totally fine, but I think Rise from the Ashes is one of those underratedly super good cards in draft that when you play it and you go get a Phoenix Flame back and then you play anything that you want, including the Phoenix Flame, giving a buff from Rise from the Ashes, super powerful. Like, you can push 6 on turn 1 with like a 0-cost 3 attack. It becomes a 6, and you have a flame to follow it up, which is super good. Ronin Renegade, I think, is like the epitome of good cards. Maybe I shouldn't put this as a 5. I should probably put this as a 4, because if our standard is 3 attack, 0-cost Go Again, then this should be like a 3 or a 4-star. I got a little carried away. Apologies. I'm gonna knock that down right now. Boom, done. And this is why I go through 3 times and like double check things and kind of like just account for everything. Soaring Strike, I think, is super solid, like a 1 for 4 that does something, and even just a 1 for 4 with Go Again in the format's super good. We are moving on. You could probably also argue that's a 4-star card too. On to the old Draconic section. The nutty cards we'll get to second, but worst card, Liquefy. Oh, yeah, should I move this over? Has anyone found success with Liquefy in draft? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Look, Liquefy, not worth it. Don't play that in draft. Don't pick that card. Best cards, Sash of Sandakai is insane. If you see Sash of Sandakai, you pick it. I think every single time, and you hate draft it, so maybe someone else can't get their hands on it. And then Blaze Headlong. I think Blaze Headlong is like one of the best cards in the set, particularly just because it can just push 0 for 4 for both of the Draconic heroes. It's super good. Card's super good. If you see Blaze Headlong, that's a first pick. Like, straight up. I mean, that's super easy, too. Just you see it and you snap it. A Flamescale Furnace, I consider a 4-star in draft, which is kind of funny. But it's an equipment that blocks 2 and then 1 and then explodes, and you don't even need to use the effect. You're just happy for blocking 2 and then 1. On to my favorite class, and one that maybe not just can't go toe-to-toe with the other 2 heroes, but I think the cards are really good. and I think it's definitely worth drafting. Elemental Wizard Icelander, she is so awesome. She's currently the mat that's sitting on my desk. Unfortunately, Brain Freeze, not an awesome card. Brain Freeze is interesting. Okay, look, Brain Freeze I consider to be very interesting because when you compare Brain Freeze to something like a, oh god, not Chill to the Bone. Why am I blanking on? Winter's Bite. When you compare it to Winter's Bite, like Winter's Bite Blue, asks your opponent to pay a resource or discard a card, right? Brain Freeze, if it's fused, you get to choose what card they lose. So in a way, if you're playing it on your turn and you fuse it, it's like a Winter's Bite, but you get the option to choose what they lose. That's really good. Unfortunately, you have to have 2 cards to do that. You have to have Brain Freeze and the card to fuse, right? That's the unfortunate part. There's also a stipulation, like if you're playing a blue, it has to be a 0 cost. If you're playing a yellow, it has to be a 1 cost or less. 2 cost or less for the red. And so for me, it's just like not ever really worth playing because the extra step just to get the effect, not good. Because if you don't ice fuse it, it's a 0 cost block 3 that looks at your opponent's hand, and you don't need that. You don't need that effect. As far as best cards in the Elemental Wizard pool, I think Sigil of Permafrost is always going to be really good. And then I think both the red and the blue Ice Veins are both 5s. Okay, so if the stipulation is a 5-star card is like a snap, pick, pack 1, pick 1, maybe Aether Ice Vein is the blue is a 4-star. Maybe this one's a 4-star, but honestly, it's it's super, super good because if you fuse this, and the red is definitely a 5-star card. Aether Ice Vein is super good because if you fuse this, you win the game. Like not strictly win the game, but you're very ahead because your opponent has to give up so much, particularly if they're Fi, and they're probably Fi because that's what they do. Ice Wizard. Okay, so this is where I was looking for the card I was just looking for because if we go to 5-star draft brain, get that out of here. I didn't give any of these 1-stars, which is kind of funny, but if we go to 5-star, Aether Hail's a 5-star card. Weird. It's a 1 for 4, but it does everything you want it to do. The red pushes 4 in a format that people just can't deal with, so you get free damage. The blue pushes 2 in a Frostbite on your opponent's turn, and they're probably not stopping it either unless they quell. So it's like, it's a perfect card. Cornet Peak, also a 5-star card. It blocks. It allows you to block out with your hand except 1 card if you want to, and then still do something. It also allows you to block with your hand, pitch a blue, Coronet Peak, take a card from them, and Arsenal. Like, it's tempo oriented, it blocks, it protects your life. It's just all the way good. It's just all the way good. If you ever see this card, obviously you snap pick it. Plus, it's a legendary. But it's interesting to look at legendaries sometimes in this perspective. Cold Snap is another 5-star card as well. It's just real good. It does everything you want it to do on your opponent's turn. It gives them a Frostbite. It threatens an Arsenal, which is very important in draft. It's very important to threaten Arsenals in draft because less life, faster games. The Arsenal card is way more important than in Classic Constructed, in my opinion. And it draws you a card. And it turns on your Waning Moon, which is your win condition. So, super good card there. All those cards worth it. Unfortunately, and weirdly enough, I actually don't think Frost Hex is great in this format. I'm not crazy about it. Channeled Bleak Expanse I could probably bump up to like maybe a 3-star. But again, 2-star. Remember, 2-star for me is it's playable. You probably don't necessarily want to put it in your deck, but you can. And these you can put into your deck for ice triggers. Insidious Chill as well. It's just not, the format's not slow enough for you to get real value off of some of these cards. Channel maybe. Maybe that should be a 3-star. I'll probably put that to a 3-star. But the others, not so much. Like, you can maybe get a couple of points off Frost Hex, but really you're probably using it to fuse. Eisenhower Weathervane also, I think these are 2-star. You can run these. They are ice cards, and technically if you're playing aggressively and like you have Ice Binds, which fuse and they're 0 cost, you can go Eisenhower into Ice Bind and fuse it, and you're kind of happy there. The other benefit is if you play Eisenhower and then you fuse the Brain Freeze that you should never play in your deck, you actually get benefit. So there's a consideration as well. You can actually consider playing Brain Freeze in that moment. All right, we're on to the last 2 real columns. Generics are really spicy and interesting, but let's go through the non-talented cards, which always sounds like an insult when we say that. I think Ghostly Touch is a 1-star card. At me on Twitter. you can talk to me on Twitter about it. I think it's a 1-star card. I think Frightmare is a 1-star card. I think Semblance is a 1-star card. I don't like Rapid Reflex. I don't want to play Rapid Reflex in Fi. I don't like attack reactions in this format. I don't know. Maybe it's my own personal bias and me trying to run it, and then next time I played a draft, I looked at it and I was like, last time I tried to run it, it never really worked out. I immediately cut it. I was like, fine, I'll just play something else. So for me, these are all 1-star cards. Alluvian Constellus is really good if you play in the mirror in draft, but you can't set that up, so this card to me is a 1-star card. Tome of Duplicity. I could make a single video about this card. Maybe I will make a single video about Tome of Duplicity and why I love it and it sucks. I'm going to make that video. In fact, I will definitely make... If you want to watch a video of me talking about why Tome of Duplicity is the coolest bad card in the game, let me know in a comment below, but it's a 1-star card. All right. Oh, I should show you the 5 stars. What am I thinking? What was I thinking? Let's do it. 5-star cards. Let's go. Best cards. Sometimes it's so fun to just get like wrapped up in like bad cards. All right, here we go. Tiger Stripe Shuko. There you go. There's the 5-star card. The 5-star card is Tiger Stripe Shuko. Outside of that, that's all I got for those non-talented class cards. And finally, that takes us to the generics. Would you guess what the best generic is? Let's turn off all these and just look at the worst. Fog Down. Fog Down, not great. It's good into Dromai. Costs too much. That's the problem. It costs too much. It costs 3 if my memory serves correct. I didn't put the cost on non-attacks, I don't think. It just costs too much. But would you guess the best? Would you have guessed Oasis Respite? Oasis Respite, best card in the game. Best card in the set. Probably best card in the game. Crown of Providence, best equipment that you could get out of pick and draft. Quelling Slippers, also a 5-star card. It competes with almost nothing in the foot slot, in the legs slot. Erase Face. If you find Erase Face in your draft pack, take it. Take it, take it. I would love to sit down and go like deep dive into every single card, but that would be like an hour-plus video, and I would need a cup of water for that. If you would like that, let me know in a comment below. Otherwise, I probably will just like leave this up for my patrons to kind of mess around with and give comments on, and let me know what they think. But yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting little like decision points. Like, where's Rake the Embers Yellow? Is that a 4-star card? Is that a 3-star card? Is that a 5-star card? That's the interesting thing, and it just gets you thinking about the format. And the more thinking you do about the format, the more informed you are when you sit down to draft. And think about it. We're going to be drafting this set for a while, because the next set is not a draft set. And so this set, you have an opportunity right now, early in the set's life, to get good at the draft format, which could pay off at any of the future events that you go to. And that's a cool thing. So if you enjoyed this video, if you got something out of it, feel free to make that number go to that other number. We are closing in very quickly on the old 10K subs, and when we hit that, I'll make a video talking about a pretty major giveaway we're going to do. As always, thanks for watching.